Hello students, good morning to all of you. The next topic in atomic structure is photoelectric effect. This photoelectric effect was first observed by Hertz and further developed by Einstein. According to Einstein, when a suitable frequency of light falls on a metal surface in vacuum, immediately without any time lag, the electrons were emitted from its metal surface. This effect is known as photoelectric effect. When a suitable frequency of light falls on any metal surface in vacuum, from that metal surface photoelectrons were ejected or emitted from its metal surface. The number of photoelectrons emitted from that metal surface depends upon the brightness of the light beam. If the brightness of the light beam is more, the amplitude of the light is more, that means intensity of the light beam is more. Now that light containing very large number of photons, PHOTONs. Photons means energy packets. That's why the number of photoelectrons emission is directly proportional to brightness of the light beam. If the brightness of the light beam is more, that light containing large number of photons, now that metal emits the large number of photoelectrons. So according to Einstein, the number of photoelectrons emission from the metal surface is directly proportional to brightness of the light beam. After that, the kinetic energy of the emitted electron is directly proportional to frequency of the incident light. If the frequency of the incident light is more, now the kinetic energy of the emitted electron is also more. So there are two important points in this photoelectric effect property. The number of photoelectrons emission from the metal surface is directly proportional to intensity of the light beam. And second point is the kinetic energy of the emitted electrons directly proportional to frequency of the incident light. For example, in the long form periodic table, active metals are alkali metals. Potassium, rubidium, cesium, they possess more atomic radius. That's why for them metallic property is more. So for these metals, suitable light is ultraviolet light or visible light also. So when UV light falls on any alkali metal, immediately that metal shows photoelectric effect. That means when light falls on those metals, immediately photoelectrons were emitted. For example, in the case of potassium metal, when red light falls on the potassium metal, no photoelectric effect property was observed. At the same time, when yellow color light falls on the same metal, immediately that potassium metal exhibit photoelectric effect property. The reason for that one is the visible range is for violet light lambda is equal to 3800 angstrom. For red color lambda is equal to 7600 angstrom. For red color lambda is more, so the frequency is less when compared to yellow color light. So when compared to red color light, for yellow color light, the frequency is more. So when suitable frequency of light falls on any metal surface, that metal exhibit photoelectric effect property. That means in the long form periodic table, each and every metal having some frequency which is known as threshold frequency. In the case of potassium, the threshold frequency of any metal is represented by nu 0. For potassium, it is equal to, for potassium metal, it is equal to 5 into 10 power 14 Hz. Each and every metal is having some minimum frequency which is known as threshold frequency of the metal. In the case of potassium, threshold frequency of the metal is equal to 5 into 10 power 14 Hz. At the same time, in the case of red color, the frequency is equal to 4.6 into 10 power 14 Hz. But in the case of yellow color light, the frequency is equal to 5.2 into 10 power 14 Hz. Are you following or not? When red color falls on potassium metal, no photoelectric property is observed. And when yellow color light falls on the same metal, immediately that potassium metal exhibit photoelectric effect property, because for potassium the minimum frequency of the metal, that means threshold frequency of the metal, it is named as threshold frequency. Threshold frequency. Threshold frequency. The symbolic representation of the threshold frequency means minimum frequency of the metal. Any metal having some minimum frequency which is known as threshold frequency. Its symbol is nu 0. In the case of potassium metal, that value is 5 into 10 power 14 Hz. For red color, frequency is less than 4.6 into 10 power 14 Hz. For yellow color light, frequency is 5.2 into 10 power 14 Hz. That means if the frequency of the incident light is, if the frequency of the incident light is more than threshold frequency of the metal, now that metal exhibit photoelectric effect property. Remember that according to Einstein, the condition to show the photoelectric property of any metal in the long form periodic table is if the frequency of the incident light is more than threshold frequency of the metal, now that metal exhibit photoelectric effect property. That's why the photoelectric effect is defined as when suitable frequency, remember that suitable frequency. Here in the case of potassium metal, suitable frequency of the light is yellow color light but not red color light, because in the case of red color its frequency is less than threshold frequency of the potassium metal. That's why when red color falls on potassium metal, there is no photoelectric effect property. But in the case of yellow color, its frequency is more than the threshold frequency of the potassium metal. That's why when yellow color light falls on potassium metal, immediately that metal exhibit photoelectric effect property. That's why in the statement, according to Einstein, when suitable frequency of light falls on a metal surface in vacuum, that metal exhibit photoelectric effect. So, very important point is, in the case of alkali metals, suitable frequency of light is UV light, even visible light also shows the photoelectric effect property if that light falls on any alkali metal like potassium, rubidium, cesium. Among these three metals, highly active metal is cesium. So, this is about the photoelectric effect statement and example. After that, according to Einstein, when the light falls on, when suitable light falls on any metal, when the light falls on any metal means some amount of energy is by that metal. So, its energy formula is H nu. When the light falls on, when photon falls on any metal surface, that metal absorbs some amount of energy. That means this is nothing but energy of the incident light, where H is equal to Planck's constant and nu is equal to, in this formula, nu is equal to frequency of the incident light. Frequency of the incident light. So, when the light falls on, a metal surface, this energy is utilized by that metal in two forms. One is, some part of the energy is utilized to overcome the attractions between the nucleus and electrons. That energy is known as threshold energy. Formula is H nu 0, where nu 0 means threshold frequency of the metal. Nu 0 means threshold frequency or minimum frequency. Threshold frequency is nothing but minimum frequency of the metal. Each and every metal having some inner frequency which is known as threshold frequency. So, when the light falls on any metal surface, that energy is utilized in two ways. One of the way is some amount of energy is utilized to decreases the attractions between the nucleus and electron. That energy is known as threshold energy. Another name is minimum energy of the metal, that is represented by phi. PHI, phi. This is the symbolic representation of phi. Nothing but H into nu 0. H nu means the energy of the incident light. That energy is utilized in two ways by that metal. One of the way is this one. That means threshold energy, nothing but work function. There are so many names. Work function is nothing but threshold energy. Formula is H into nu 0. Symbolic representation is phi. PHI, phi. Some of them are represented like this also. W0. Both are same. So, and the second part is some of the energy is converted in the form of kinetic energy of the emitted electron. Some part of energy is in the form of threshold energy. Other part, the remaining part of the energy is in the form of kinetic energy of the emitted electron. So, this is equal to Ke. The formula used to calculate kinetic energy of the particle is half mv square, where v is equal to velocity of the electron, m is equal to mass of the electron. So, very important point is, according to Einstein, when the light falls on, when suitable light falls on a metal surface, that energy is converted into two forms. One is threshold energy, another one is kinetic energy of the emitted electron. Formula is half mv square. Therefore, the kinetic energy of the emitted electron formula is h into nu minus nu 0. So, this is very important expression. This was given by Einstein. That's why this expression is known as Einstein's expression. So, according to Einstein, in this expression, nu 0 is constant, which is known as minimum frequency of the metal, each and every metal having some nu 0, so it is a constant value. And here in this expression, h is known as Max Planck's constant. So finally, the kinetic energy of the emitted electron is directly proportional to frequency of the incident light. So according to Einstein, the kinetic energy of the emitted electron does not depends upon brightness of the light beam. That kinetic energy of the emitted electron depends upon frequency of the incident light. If the frequency of the incident light is more than minimum frequency of the metal, now that metal shows photoelectric effect property. So remember that. So that means according to Einstein, the kinetic energy of the ejected electron depends upon frequency of the incident light, but not depends upon intensity of the light beam. If the frequency of the incident light is more than threshold frequency of the metal, now that metal compulsory shows photoelectric effect property. That's why see this diagram also, when suitable frequency of light falls on metal surface, that energy is utilized by this metal in two ways. One is threshold energy form, another one is kinetic energy form. And other important point in this theory is number of photoelectrons emission does not depends upon frequency of the incident light. It is always depends upon brightness of the light beam. If the light beam intensity is more, that light containing more number of photons, that's why that light emits the more number of photoelectrons also. So this is the photoelectric property. When suitable light falls on a metal surface in vacuum, immediately photoelectrons were ejected from this metal surface. This is electron detector, and this is connected to an ammeter to measure the electrical potential, and this is positive plate. So this is connected to a battery. This is not battery, this is an ammeter, and this is metal surface can be treated as negative charge, and this is connected to a battery. So according to Einstein, when suitable frequency of light falls on a metal surface in vacuum, photoelectrons are emitted. This is the suitable frequency of light falls on metal surface like potassium metal. When yellow color light falls on this potassium metal, each and every metal having some threshold frequency, if this frequency of this light is more than the frequency of the metal, now that metal exhibit photoelectric effect property. In the long form periodic table, alkali metals shows more photoelectric effect property. According to like Einstein, according to Philip Lenard also, the kinetic energy of the emitted electron when the light falls on any metal surface, the kinetic energy of the emitted electron is directly proportional to frequency of the incident light, and the number of photoelectrons depends upon intensity of the light beam. If the intensity of the light beam is more, that light containing the more number of photoelectrons, more number of photoelectrons. Now, up to now, Planck's quantum theory, Einstein's theory, two important theories are completed. Now, some of the problems based on Planck's quantum theory of radiation. First problem is calculate the energy of 1 mole photons of radiation whose frequency is given, which is equal to 5 into 10 power 14 Hz. Nothing but potassium metal, minimum frequency of the threshold frequency of the potassium metal is nearly 5 into 10 power 14 Hz. Now calculate the energy of 1 mole photons with the help of Planck's quantum theory. So very important theory in atomic structure is Planck's quantum theory. A body can emit or absorb the radiation discontinuously in the form of small packets. So according to Max Planck, E is equal to n into h nu. This is the formula according to Planck's quantum theory, where n is number of photons, number of quantas, both are same. So calculate the energy of 1 mole photons. Here number of photons is equal to 1 mole, that means 6.023 into 10 power 23. Now calculate the energy of that number of photons. 6.023 into 10 power 23 photons energy is nothing but 1 Einstein, very very important bit. So that is this much. E is equal to, here n indicate number of photons, here number of photons is equal to 1 mole. 1 mole means 6.023 into 10 power 23 into h. If you want to calculate in MKS system, 6.625 into 10 power minus 34 into frequency is given 5 into 10 power 14. 5 into 10 power 14. This is equal to, this is nearly equal to 6 into 5. So this is 30 into 32. This is 30 into 6.625 into 10 power 23 and 14, 10 power 37 and 10 power minus 34. So this is 10 power 3. So which is equal to in joules. In joules, this value is approximately 199.51 into 10 power 3 joules. Nothing but 199.51 kilojoules. So based on Planck's quantum theory of radiation, the energy of the radiation E is equal to n into h nu, or E is equal to n hc by lambda. If lambda is known to you, apply this formula. This is also equal to n into hc nu bar, n into hc nu bar. If the frequency of the radiation is known to you, apply this formula. If they give wavelength of the radiation, apply n into hc by lambda, or if you know the wave number of the radiation, apply this formula, E is equal to n into hc nu bar. So finally the energy of 1 mole photons of radiation whose frequency is 5 into 10 power 14 Hz is nothing but 199.51 kilojoules, or 199.51 into 10 power 3 joules. And second problem is, a 100 watt bulb emits monochromatic light of wavelength 400 nanometers. Now calculate the number of photons emitted per second. Apply the same formula. E is equal to nh nu according to Planck's quantum theory. But in this problem, wavelength is given in nanometers. That's why convert this frequency into wavelength form. N into hc by lambda. Now calculate the number of photons, n. So this is the formula. N is equal to cross multiplication, energy into cross multiplication. N is equal to energy into lambda divided by h into c. This is very, very important problem. Generally they will ask in IIT JEE type examinations. So the number of photons is equal to E into lambda divided by h into c. Now here this bulb emits 100 watt. 1 watt is equal to 1 joule per second. Therefore the number of photons is equal to, here E is equal to 100 watt, that means 100 joules, into lambda, here lambda is in nanometers, 400 nanometers. Now convert this nanometers into meters, because joule is MKS system. 1 nanometer is equal to 10 power minus 9 meters. 1 nanometer is equal to 10 power minus 7 centimeters, or 1 nanometer is equal to 10 power minus 9 meters. Now convert this lambda into meters. 400 into 10 power minus 9 meters. So E into lambda, in MKS system lambda is 400 into 10 power minus 9 divided by in MKS system Planck's constant value is 6.625 into 10 power minus 34 into the velocity of the light in meter per second is 3 into 10 power 8. Now the number of photons emitted from this 100 watt bulb is approximately, this is equal to 2 into 10 power 20 photons. This much photons are present in 100 watt bulb. If that bulb lambda is, if that bulb emits the light whose wavelength is 400 nanometers. So number of photons from this 100 watt bulb is equal to approximately 2 into 10 power 20 photons. So according to Planck's quantum theory, if you know the wavelength, frequency, wave number of any type of electromagnetic radiation, it is possible to calculate its energy, and it is also possible to calculate how many number of photons or quantas are present in that light. The formula is E n into h nu, or E is equal to n into hc by lambda, or E is equal to n into hc nu bar. Now in this expression, small n indicate number of photons. The number of photons small n is equal to E into lambda divided by h into c. So here very important point is 1 watt is nothing but 1 joule per second. So this is nothing but energy. So n is equal to energy into MKS system, watt means. So lambda in meters is 400 into 10 power minus 9, that means 4 into 10 power minus divided by 6.625 into 10 power minus 34 into 3 into 10 power 8. After this calculation, the number of photons is approximately equal to, number of photons are approximately equal to 2 into 10 power 20 photons are present in 100 watt bulb if it emits the monochromatic light of wavelength 400 nanometers. Now the next problem is based on Einstein's photoelectric effect expression. According to Einstein, the kinetic energy of the emitted electron Ke is equal to h into mu minus nu 0. Very important expression. According to Einstein, the kinetic energy of the emitted electron is equal to h into mu minus nu 0. In this problem, the minimum frequency, that means the threshold frequency for a metal is given, that means nu 0 is given, which is equal to 7 into 7 per, that means 7 into 10 power 14 Hz. This is the minimum frequency of a particular metal. And calculate the kinetic energy of the emitted electron when the radiant energy, the frequency of the incident radiation is 10 power 15 Hz. That means nu is equal to, the frequency of the incident light is 10 power 15 Hz. 10 power 15 Hz. Now calculate the kinetic energy of the emitted electron or ejected electron. Apply this formula. Now Ke is equal to, in MKS system, 6.625 into 10 power minus 34 into the frequency of the incident light, that means 10 power 15 minus minimum frequency of the particular metal, which is equal to 7 into 10 power 14. Now the kinetic energy of the emitted electron is equal to 6.625 into 10 power minus 34 into, now here 10 power 14 into 10 power 14 into 10 minus 7. 10 power 14 into 10 minus 7. So this is equal to 6.625 into 10 minus 7, which is equal to 3, into 10 power minus 34 into 10 power 14, that is equal to 10 power minus 20. 10 power minus 20. So it is equal to 1.988 into 10 power minus 19 joules. So very important expression which was given by Einstein is the kinetic energy of the emitted electron is equal to h into nu minus nu 0, where nu is frequency of the incident light, nu 0 means minimum frequency of the metal, which is equal to 7 into 10 power 14. Now by using this expression, it is possible to calculate the kinetic energy of the emitted electron. In this problem also, the frequency of the incident light is more than the threshold frequency of the metal. That's why that metal exhibit photoelectric effect property. And second problem is photoelectric emission is observed from a metal surface for frequencies mu1 and mu2 of the incident radiation. In this case, mu1 is greater than mu2. If the maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons in two cases are in the ratio 1:k, then calculate the threshold frequency of the given metal by using this information. For the first metal, according to Einstein, there is only one metal. The metal is same. Now calculate the minimum frequency of the metal. In the first case, there are two cases here. One is mu1 and another one is mu2. In the first case, Ke1 is equal to, here the metal is same, remember that. Calculate the threshold frequency of the metal. Incident light's frequencies are different. One is having mu1, other light is having mu2. mu1 is greater than mu2, remember that. Metal is same. That's why in the first case, Ke1 is equal to h into mu1 minus mu0. Mu0 means threshold frequency of the given metal. Mu1 means frequency of the incident light 1. And in the second case, Ke2 is equal to second light frequency is mu2, but mu1 is greater than mu2. Now apply the Einstein's expression for the second case, h into nu2 minus nu0. This is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. Now in this problem, if the maximum kinetic energy of photoelectrons in these two cases are in the ratio 1:k, therefore Ke1 divided by Ku2 is given, which is equal to 1:k, 1 by k, is equal to the ratio between these two. So this and this are cancelled together. Therefore 1 by k is equal to nu 1 minus nu 0 divided by mu 2 minus mu 0. Follow properly. According to Einstein's expression, in the first case, Ke1 is equal to h into nu 1 minus nu 0. For the second case, Ke2 is equal to h into nu 2 minus nu 0. The ratio between these two kinetic energies is equal to 1 by k. Therefore, 1 by k is equal to mu 1 minus mu 0 divided by mu 2 minus mu 0. Cross multiplication. Mu 2 minus mu 0 is equal to k into mu 1 minus mu 0. This is equal to k mu 1 minus k mu 0. Mu 2 minus mu 0 is equal to k into mu 1 minus k into mu 0. Now, this is equal to k mu 0 minus mu 0 is equal to k mu 1 minus mu 0. I mean mu 2. K mu 1 minus mu 2. Now, common factor is mu 0. Therefore, mu 0 into k minus 1 is equal to k mu 1 minus mu 2. Therefore, threshold frequency of the metal is equal to k mu 1 minus mu 2. Mu 1 is greater than mu 2. That's why k mu 1 minus mu 2 divided by k minus 1. So, this is the threshold frequency of the metal if these are the conditions. So, Einstein's expression indicates the kinetic energy of the emitted electron is always directly proportional to frequency of the incident light. If the frequency of the incident light is more than threshold frequency of the metal, now that metal exhibit photoelectric effect property. In this problem, the ratio between the kinetic energies are given, which is equal to 1 by k on cross multiplication, and after that mu 0 into k minus 1 is equal to k into minus mu 2. Therefore, the threshold frequency of the metal in this case is equal to k into mu 1 minus mu 2 divided by k minus 1. So, these are the problems based on Planck's quantum theory of radiation. Now, the next topic in atomic structure is continuous emission spectrum. The spectrum is defined as the pattern of lines are formed by the dispersal of a light beam into its component wavelengths is known as a spectrum. The pattern of lines are formed by the dispersal of a light beam into its component wavelengths is known as a spectrum. The whole setup is known as spectroscope. That means the spectroscope is used to study the spectrums. For example, the white light is composed of 7 different colors. When a thin beam of white light is passed through a prism and it is received on a photographic film or white screen, now that film or white screen containing 7 continuous colors, 7 continuous colors: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red color. So in this representation there is no gap in between the colors. Here the colors are formed continuously. There is no gap in between the colors. That's why it is an example of continuous emission spectrum. So very important example of continuous emission spectrum is dispersal of white light into 7 component colors. Here for violet light, lambda is 3800 angstrom. For red color, lambda is 7600 angstrom. For violet color, lambda is less. That's why the wave with shorter wavelength bends more. Among these 7 different colors, violet color shows more bending property when compared with longer wavelength. Here longer wavelength belongs to a red color. So among violet to red color, the wave with shorter wavelength bends more than the one with a longer wavelength. So from bottom to top, violet color, bottom to top, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. So among these 7 different colors, for red color lambda is more. So similarly in the case of lambda is less. So the wave with shorter wavelength bends more than the one with a longer wavelength. So very important point is the dispersal of white light into 7 different colors is an example of continuous emission spectrum. Continuous emission spectrum means the 7 colors are formed continuously. There is no gap in between the colors. So it is already known to you in the lower classes also. Now the next one is discontinuous emission spectrum or atomic spectrum or line spectrum. So atoms always produce this type of spectra because gaseous atom is heated, the electrons present in the atom absorbs the energy and they goes to different higher energy levels, but a system of higher energy state is always unstable. So they come back to the lower energy states, they emits, those electrons emits the energy in the form of light. Now that emission of light is allowed to pass through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. Now that photographic film containing large number of, that means a series of sharp distinct lines like this, sharp distinct lines, that the atom always produce discontinuous spectra because atoms contains discrete energy states but not continuous energy states, first state, second state, third state, like that, but not zero energy state, 0.5 energy state, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. That type of energy states are impossible according to Planck's quantum theory. So, when an atom is heated or subjected to electrical discharge, the electrons present in the atom absorbs some amount of energy and they means electrons goes to different higher energy levels. A system energy state is always unstable. So, they come back to the lower energy state, they emits the light. That emission of light is passed through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. Now, that photographic film compulsory contains sharp discrete lines. A separate gap is present in between the sharp lines. Sharp means bright lines, because in this case the electrons present in the atom emits the energy. That's why that line is in the form of bright line. For example, when sodium vapor is heated, the electrons present in the sodium vapor absorbs the energy and they goes to different higher energy levels. They come back to the lower energy state, they emits the energy. That emission of light is passed through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. Now, the photographic film, very very important objective bit is sodium vapor produce two discrete sharp lines at lambda 5890 angstrom and 5896 angstrom in yellow color region. That means these two are bright lines or sharp lines. That means in between these two lines there is dark area. Very important example in alkali metals family is, among the all alkali metals, sodium occurs more abundantly in nature in the form of combined state. Sodium vapor produce two bright lines at lambda is equal to 5890 angstrom and for other bright line lambda is equal to 5896 angstrom. That means in between bright lines there is certain gap. So, atoms always produce discontinuous emission spectrum or line emission spectrum, LINE, line emission spectrum, and other name is atomic spectrum. So, atomic spectrum is nothing but discontinuous spectrum. Discontinuous spectrum is nothing but line spectrum. So, in this way atoms always produce discontinuous spectrum. This is one of the major fault in Rutherford's atomic model. According to Planck's quantum theory, atoms always produce discontinuous spectra because each and every atom containing discrete energy states but not continuous energy states. Remember that. And the next type of spectra is absorption spectrum. it is just opposite to emission spectra. That means it is formed by the absorption of energy in the form of light radiation by the electrons present in an atom. For example, when sodium vapor is heated, the electrons present in the atom absorbs the energy. Now that spectrum is said to be absorption spectrum. That means it is just opposite to emission spectra. Emission means energy is emitted. Absorption means energy is absorbed by the electrons present in an atom. For example, when white light is passed through a tube containing sodium vapor, when white light is passed through a tube containing sodium vapor, and then this light is passed through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. When white light is passed through a tube containing sodium vapor, and then that light is passed through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. This whole setup is known as spectroscope. Now this photographic film contains two dark lines. Instead of bright lines, there are two dark lines at same lambda value, 5890 angstrom and 5896 angstrom in yellow region, instead of two bright lines, here two dark lines are formed at same lambda value. At the same time, bright area is present in between the two dark lines. That means the absorption spectrum is just opposite to emission spectra. Here the electron in the atom absorbs the energy. That's why instead of bright lines, there are two dark lines at same lambda value. Remember that. But no two elements can have similar line spectrum. Potassium produce two bright lines at some other lambda values. No two elements can have similar atomic spectrum. Remember that. But for a particular element, absorption spectrum is just opposite to emission spectra. Once again, I will repeat the same topic. When white light is allowed to pass through a tube containing sodium vapor and then it is passed through a prism and then it is received on a photographic film. Now the photographic film contains two dark lines at 5890 angstrom and 5896 angstrom in yellow region. Bright area is present in between the two dark lines. So the number of the lines formed depends upon nature of the element. And very important point is, no two elements can have similar atomic spectrum or line spectrum or discontinuous spectrum. That's why the difference between the other one is line spectrum and band spectrum. Line spectrum and band spectrum. Another topic is, atoms always produce line spectrum due to excitation and de-excitation of the electrons present in an atom. Up to now, emission spectrum and absorption spectrum is completed. Absorption spectrum is just opposite to emission spectra. The dispersal of the white light produce continuous emission spectrum. Now, line spectrum and band spectrum. Atoms always produce line spectra, nothing but discontinuous spectra or atomic spectra. That spectrum is formed due to excitation and de-excitation of the electrons present in an atom. But it is a very clear spectrum because, for example, sodium produce two bright lines at 5890 angstrom and 5896 angstrom in yellow region. It is a very clear spectrum because certain gap is present in between the two lines, whether they are bright lines or dark lines. So, line spectrum is very clear spectrum because it is formed by the excitation and de-excitation of the electrons present in an atom. Remember that. Atom produce line spectrum, and other one is molecules produce band spectrum. The difference between line spectrum and band spectrum is group of atoms is known as a molecule. That's why molecules produce band spectra. That means in the band spectrum there are closely associated lines like this. For example, KMnO4 molecule produce 5 lines. These lines are very nearer to each other. So due to closely associated lines, it looks like a band, BAND band. So molecules means group of atoms. So due to excitation and de-excitation of the electrons present in a molecule produce band spectrum. That's why line spectrum is very clear spectrum, but band spectrum is not clear spectrum because of the presence of closely associated lines. This is not a clear spectra, this is a very clear spectrum. For example, KMnO4, potassium permanganate, is a molecule. It containing group of atoms. Potassium, manganese, 4 oxygen atoms are present in KMnO4 molecule. That's why that molecule produce this type of spectra. 5 lines are formed, but these lines are closely associated to each other. That's why it is a band spectrum, but this is a line spectrum. This is line spectrum. So the final point is atoms produce line spectrum, molecules produce band spectrum. Now the final conclusions in this spectrum information is very important point is no two elements can have similar line spectrum. That's why the spectrums are useful to study the chemical analysis to identify the unknown atoms like rubidium, cesium, thallium, indium, gallium, scandium from its minerals. In the same way as fingerprints are used to identify the peoples genetically, in the same way no two elements can have similar line spectrum. From element to element, spectrum should be differ. That's why it is possible to study the properties of the elements individually, because no two elements can have similar line spectrum. Potassium spectrum is different with the sodium spectrum. So, it is possible to study the chemical properties of the elements with the help of spectrums. So, the spectrums are useful to study the characteristic properties of the elements in the periodic table. So, this is about the spectrums information, and same thing will be observed in this video also. This is the dispersal of white light. White light is allowed to pass through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. Violet to red, violet color shows more bending when compared with red color, because for violet color lambda is less. So, any sunlight, incandescent light, solid or liquid at high temperature produce white light. Now, this is about the dispersal of the white light. That means white light is composed of 7 different colors, violet to red color. For violet color, lambda is less. So, it shows more bending property. And this is about the emission spectrum and absorption spectrum. Generally, any gas or vapor shows both emission spectra and absorption spectra. If the element produce emission spectra, means the same element also produce automatically absorption spectrum. That means the emission spectrum is followed by absorption spectrum. So, this is about the representation of the emission spectrum. These are bright lines. That's why in between the bright lines there is dark area, and this is the representation of the absorption spectrum. These are the dark lines. In between the dark lines there is bright area. So, very important difference in between these two is electrons present in the atom emits the energy. That spectrum is known as emission spectrum. The electrons present in the atom absorbs the energy. That spectrum is said to be the absorption spectrum. And this is the representation of the line spectrum and band spectrum. Another name of line spectrum is atomic spectrum. Another name of band spectrum is molecular spectrum. Hydrogen atom produce line spectra. Hydrogen molecule produce band spectra. So, the difference between line spectrum and band spectrum is like that. So, very important point is line spectrum containing discrete lines. There is certain gap is present in between the lines. That's why line spectrum is very clear spectrum. But here, see here, these lines are very closely associated to each other, because group of atoms is known as a molecule. That's why molecule always produce band spectra. It is not a clear spectra. Hydrogen atom produce discontinuous spectrum. Hydrogen molecule produce the band spectrum. Now, this is also the representation of the continuous emission spectrum and absorption spectrum. This electrical bulb emits the white light. This white light is allowed to pass through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. Now, that is an example of continuous emission spectrum. And here, when any gas is heated, the electrons present in the atom goes to higher energy state. Emission of light is passed through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. Now, that is an example of emission spectrum. So, emission spectrum of any element containing sharp lines, bright lines. In between the bright lines there is dark photographic film. And here, when white light is passed through a tube containing gas like sodium vapor, and then that light is passed through a prism and it is received on a photographic film. Now the photographic film containing dark lines, in between the dark lines there is bright area. So this is about the spectrum information.